Hello everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome back to my channel. So a few weeks ago, I was organizing my albums and getting labels on them, and I pulled this one from the shelf and opened it up to see which cruise I had scrapbooked, and I opened it up and started flipping through it. And that's the second. This is Tuesday of that week of the cruise, and our cruise went through Saturday. So I forgot or just set this aside and just never finished scrapbooking the pictures from this cruise. So I pulled everything and I'm going to finish this book up over the course of the next few videos. And then after I'm finished, I will do a walkthrough of all of the layouts from this cruise book. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Just a quick note, I did these layouts while I was at a retreat a few weeks ago. So you might see a little camera bounce, and the surface, the shooting area for the film is a little tighter and not as neat as I'm used to, but I got it done. So the papers that I'm going to use are from Everyday Happiness and Woven Textures, and then a Close to My Heart collection called Cape Cod. So these are the pictures. This is from our Wednesday of the cruise, and we went to St. Lucia. So we did a catamaran cruise around the island and kind of pulled off near some sites, and then we wound up in a little bay, and they let us get off the catamaran and bob in the waves. There was a little beach there. So yeah, it was a good day. So I have a few pictures to scrapbook, and let's go ahead and get started. So my base is going to be white. I used white as a base for a lot of the previous layouts, so I'm going to continue with that thread. And my photos, this was way back when Close to My Heart had Studio J. So I had them processed and did all kinds of different sizes. The photo processing with Studio J was just beautiful. So I'm going to use these photos, and I have some 5x7s, and this one is not quite a 4x6. My husband also had his camera, and for some reason, the photos from his camera wind up being a little bit smaller than mine. So I'm going to make it work though. So I have these photos, and I'm thinking, two on each page, and then I have this piece of Everyday Happiness, the sponged pattern that almost it reminds you of a beach. That's going to be on the other side, so I'm going to split it. So I'm going to have a larger piece of it on the left page, and then it will carry through to the right page. And then I want to work in some of this woven textures, and it just reminds me of a beach tote or a straw hat, and just very beachy. So I want to use that. And then this piece is from Cape Cod, and it has Lagoon, which is very close to Lost Lagoon in the Everyday Happiness papers. And it's got kind of a tropical, I don't know, it looks like leaves and kind of a background, a tropical background. So this is a zip strip from Close to My Heart, or it's a branding strip, and that's also from Cape Cod, and it has little anchors on it. So I'm going to use that. So I'm thinking I'm going to have like a shorter bit with the woven textures over on the left page and then the right page, so that it'll look like it's a complete piece that's running all the way through. You'll see what I mean in just a minute. So I'm looking at another zip strip just to see. The other one has starfish on it, but I like this one with the anchors. So yeah, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. So off camera, I cut everything. So I have that larger piece of Everyday Happiness that'll go on the left page, and then completing that piece over on the right, and then a bit of the Cape Cod and some of the everyday woven textures. And then we'll duplicate that design over on the right page. I might use a little bit more, a little bit less of this Cape Cod. And again, just making sure that one's from Cape Cod. And yeah, that'll go there. And then we'll start building everything on the right page. And then we'll bring the pictures in a second. So we'll slide that in. And I want to leave about 3/4 to an inch of white over on the margins on the left and the right. Okay, so now let's bring the pictures in. So I'm noticing the proportions are wrong with that woven textures. So off camera, I'm going to have to go ahead and cut larger pieces. So I won't make you watch, I'll do that off camera, but I'm just lining everything up right now. And then with the 5x7 picture, got some dead space down in the lower right, so I'm gonna cover that up and do it sort of collage style. So I sped this up, and you'll notice that the woven textures, I cut them at larger pieces so that they can accommodate those two pictures and still have some extra above and below. So we'll get these glued down, and then I'll line this picture, they're even on the left side, which leaves a little gap over on the right. So this is my, I'll show you my fix in just a minute on how I tackle that. Okay, so these embellishments are from No Worries. And I really want to use these palm trees. So, and then I also like this large round sticker. And we'll use some of the other ones. Okay, so also with No Worries, they have a page that's a bunch of cut apart pocket pieces. So I'm going to use that. And then these are the stickers from Everyday Happiness from Stampin Up. So I'm going to use this piece that's, it's in Lost Lagoon, and it's a small strip sticker. And I'm measuring how tall that photo is with the mats. So I've matted my photos with white cardstock and also with Night of Navy, in case I forgot to mention that. And so now I'm measuring my sticker, and I'm sorry this wound up being off camera, but I'm going to use that tiny strip, kind of slide it under the edge of the photo to carry out that picture so that it winds up being the same width as the picture below it to even everything up. And in the video here, it doesn't look like it's a huge difference, but in real life, I don't know, I noticed it, so it was bugging me, so I needed to fix it. So, okay, so these, I'm going to bring this round sticker in, and I'm going to pop it with foam tape. So this is anti-static powder, so I'm just going to tap it and take the stick off the back of the sticker with the powder. And then I can add some foam tape to it. And that way I can play with it and move it around on my layout. And I don't have to worry about it sticking down yet. Okay, so I'm going to create a cluster over to the right of these photos. So I'm going to bring in another one of these pocket cards from No Worries, and I'm just going to cut a plank of wood from it. And then I'll trim up the width of that once I decide how wide I want it to be. So I'm creating a base for my cluster here. So I have a sticker, and we'll place that down about there. And then I'll go ahead and trim this plank up, and that can go there. And then I have a place for my palm trees to sit. So I'm going to set those aside just for a second so we can get that plank glued down. And then we'll add the palm trees. Kind of deciding where to put them and then where the circle's going to be. Need to move it over. Thank goodness these stickers are forgiving. You can, if you're careful, you can pull them and shift them around. So just kind of figuring out how to fit everything in that space. Okay, and then I'm going to dig into some more embellishments. I like this one from No Worries. And then I'm going to pull some other ones from another collection called Regatta. So for all these layouts for the next, to finish up this album, I'm going to use 3 different collections, old collections from Close to My Heart. These are Cape Cod embellishments. So the 3 collections are No Worries, Cape Cod, and Regatta. I dug into all of my stash and pulled anything that was ocean related. And so I'm going to be working from all 3 of these collections. A lot of the colors are alike and they work together nicely. So I pulled some of these craft embellishments. I have some seagulls and an anchor, and I have my Altenew sticky mat here, and I've stuck them down on that sticky mat, and I'm going to ink them up. And I just have my sponge ink blender, and I'm just tapping some ink onto all of these embellishments. They don't have to be the color that they are. You can always change it up. So just adding some ink, changing the color, and then we can add those to the layout. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and glue down that circle embellishment. And then we can add the starfish. And finish up that cluster. So I added just a little bit of foam tape to the back of that starfish so it can be at the same level as the round sticker. And then I'll add this other one with some glue. And then we can add those seagulls flying above that cluster. So we've got 3 of them, and we'll place them up there flying around. So it was a nice relaxing day. Most of it was spent on the catamaran, and we were sailing around. They had music and drinks for us, and just seeing St. Lucia and the Pitons, those 2 iconic mountains in that picture below there. Okay. So now we can start working on the left page and trying to decide where exactly I want this cut apart piece to be. Too squashed in there. Still going to try it. So not crazy about it there. Okay, so it's going to go in that original space. It's a little too big, so I'll bring my trimmer in just a second and we'll tighten that up a bit. And then that anchor is going to go below it. Okay, so let's trim that one up. So this was a 7-day cruise in 2016. It's been a while. And we went on another cruise in 2018, and I've already scrapbooked that one. I don't know why I forgot all about this one, finishing it up. So anyway, it happens. We'll get it done. So we cruised with a couple friends and their son. And when we cruise with friends, we book it and then we make sure that we have the same dinner hour so that we can sit together at dinner. And then as far as excursions go, we each choose whatever we want to do. And then when we get together at dinner, we meet up and say, oh, what'd you do today? So this one, we did go on one excursion, all of us together. And then at the end of the cruise, we were in San Juan, Puerto Rico together as well. So yeah, it was a good cruise. Okay, so that stamp set was called Love This Moment, and I am going to create a journal box. So I have some more of this. This paper is from Everyday Happiness, and I'm going to stamp these lines to create a journal box. I'm stamping in Lost Lagoon, and I'm just stamping several. I don't know how much room I'm going to need to fit all my journaling in. So, okay, so I trimmed it down, and off camera, I did some journaling. And then as I'm placing this on my layout, I realized that it needed to be layered underneath that picture. And so I'd put the date up in that left corner. So this is how I'll fix it. I'm going to put a starfish on top of the date because part of it I had to cover it up to squish it underneath that photo there to make it work. And then I'll fix it in just a second. But first I'll create kind of a small cluster. Up there I'm going to add a little sticker, and then I'm going to bring in a die called Keeping Tabs, and I'm going to use a bit more of that paper from Everyday Happiness and create a little tab, and I put the date on the tab. And I actually like that better. So no mistakes in scrapbooking. So, okay. Then I'm going to bring in these embellishments. They're sequins that are from No Worries. And I'm going to scatter a whole bunch of those around. So I'll try to add once a week a video that completes this album for the next month. I think I've got, let's see, this was St. Lucia, then we have Grenada, and we have a formal night, and then Puerto Rico. So a few more layouts to do. And then I will have a video that has all of the layouts, even the previous ones that I had already completed. And so I'll do that on a separate video later on. So stay tuned, and I will put still pictures over on my Facebook page and my Instagram account. The URLs are at the bottom of your screen here, and I'll put links in the description below. Just hit the More button. I'll make a list of the supplies that are currently available with links of everything that I used to complete this layout. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. It would sure help me out, and then you'll be able to find all of my videos. And thanks for watching.